Welcome, everyone. As everyone's jumping on, welcome. Thanks for being here. First of all, I want to say thank you to Sam Tran for doing this again. I want to say this first. If you were on the last interview with Sam, you know how fantastic this is going to be. And if you weren't, you definitely want to hear that recording. And it was so incredible. So you can definitely reach out to me and I will get that recording to you. I do have it recorded to a YouTube. I wanted to do a quick intro again, because it definitely is worth reading this for anyone that doesn't know Sam or his background, his education, his knowledge and experience. I want to read this and then we're going to get right into it. Sam Tran is a clinical scientist. He has spent over 2 decades working in research. He studied laboratory medicine at the University of Washington in Seattle. He ran the clinical pathology lab at Amgen, working in pathology and toxicology departments while focused primarily on hematology, clinical chemistry, coagulation, and automation. And Sam now focuses on helping clients achieve true health via understanding more about prevention of disease. And that's what gets me really excited. Your degree is in laboratory medicine with a specialty in medical technology, which I think is really exciting for what we're going to be talking about tonight. And I know we'll talk about a lot of incredible topics, but I thought we should maybe start there, because so much of what we talk about, and I actually would like you to intro yourself as well as what I did for you, but and a little bit of your backstory too, because it is so fascinating to hear, you know, how you found this and how you not only found the science, found validity in the science through your background, your knowledge, your experience, which gave you that solid belief in what you had, but also how you worked through, like, not necessarily talking about the science, not even really talking about the water, but really connecting with people, making relationships, connecting personally, caring about people, asking about their lives, finding out, because we know change your water, change your life, right? So I wanted to talk about that a little bit, and then I want to go into the certification 13485 a little bit as well.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you for having me on here again, Lori. This is my second life. I had a near-death experience in 2014. At age 38, I had like this midlife crisis. Wasn't really fulfilled in my work, even though I was, working at my dream job, basically being a scientist and being cancer researcher and working at Amgen. Amgen was a company I always dreamed about working at, and so I had achieved that, but there was an emptiness. Did Mondays and I love Fridays, just like, and is it come through okay, Lori?
Yes, there was a little pause, but it's okay, you're back.
So yeah, so I started skateboarding with my kids again, and when I fell and hit my head and went to a coma, just one day of a coma, but it was enough for me to experience the afterlife and kind of realize that I need to do something different with my life, and really really dive into my life, not just working a 9 to 5 and just waiting for retirement, and so I really just looked at things differently overall. And then I took a year off because the company Amgen moved back down to San Francisco, South San Francisco, and they're opening a facility by Genentech down in Oyster Point. And so I was offered a job there, but I didn't want to follow the company around and then probably be laid off, in my 50s, or maybe early 60s, because that's the economic reality now for a lot of people, And so I knew that I wanted to be my own boss. I knew that I wanted to do something else, So I was introduced to, I got into a little bit of doing life insurance. Because I had just quit and I was worried about some kind of long-term medical issues with my being in a coma. So I got a life insurance policy and met Wendy And then Wendy introduced me to Chisaka. And that's how I got into this, got into anatomy. But I'll pause there to see if there's any questions, or maybe if there's anything I could explain a little bit more about my background.
I don't see any questions coming through, but everyone who's on, you have okay, we do have a hand raised by Tara. Go ahead, Tara's got her hand raised. Do you want to ask a question, Tara, or are you showing us the hand raising? Go ahead and unmute yourself and ask the question. If you
I actually turned the hand raise on.
Oh, excellent.
So perhaps it'll work.
Excellent.
So maybe we just dive into the science, right? Dive into the science of, because the reason why protect the ship. As more and more people are coming onto this project, people are going to say all sorts of things. They're going to overpromise. They're going to say, "Oh, this is a miracle water," all sorts of things, and that could get us into a lot of trouble. And so I'm here to explain the science and tell people what resources they should refer to and how they don't need to make claims. They don't need to make claims about what we do and what we offer for people, right? This technology is called electrolyzed reduced water. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Okay?
Yes.
So it's called electrolyzed reduced water. You could search it up on Google Scholar. You could probably search it up on Google too, but Google is kind of like it's almost like the bathroom wall now. You can find anything, support anything on Google now. So you have to go to a valid source in Google Scholar and or PubMed. These are where all the peer-reviewed studies are published. And so you look up electrolyzed reduced water, right? And so when I did that, I found that there's all this research that was in other countries. And it was very, very interesting that most I started to read the papers and I go, whoa, what is going on here? How come none of us in America talk about this? All we're talking about is pharmaceutical drugs. All we see every 5 minutes is a drug advertisement for this. We don't see anything else other than what we're seeing. And so I had started to wonder if I was being told everything. And I quickly realized that I was getting a biased story, and that was a big issue. But it took me a while because it really challenged my belief system. It really challenged all the education that I got and all the experience I worked in corporate and industry. And so it was a big hurdle for me to overcome. But I knew that I had to remain unbiased. If I was biased, I could possibly miss out on a big opportunity to change my life, to help a lot of people. So I had to stay unbiased, and that was a big factor. So, any follow-up things there, Lori?
What I love about this is, and it was similar for me, the science, I mean, I don't have the education and background that you have in the same way, but I still love science, and I loved the proof and the confirmation that I received when I read, the articles. I quickly found out, though, as I was explaining to people, and you mentioned this last time too, that not everybody loves the science or wants the science, or we start getting people down the road of feeling like they have to research all of this too. And because there's so much science behind it, it's fascinating, and it brings us the proof and the confirmation and the belief in what we have, which is so amazing. And I think what people would really like to know, and this is the question I get a lot, is how do you explain it to somebody initially when they say, what is this water, right? So we give them the technical scientific name, electrolyzed reduced water, and we explain what that is. We have water that is minerally charged, and it's separating and it's concentrating the minerals and creating the active hydrogen, but that becomes a lot of science for people that don't understand it. So what I loved what you said last time is that science is important, and it's there and it's available for people that need that. and then to be able to go ahead and explain it to somebody in a way that makes sense to them. Because what really made the difference with you was when you drank it after you played your basketball game and you felt different, right? So when somebody says, why do I feel different? Like, what's something that you say? Because I think we want to make sure we're speaking with compliant language. And I think that's a lot of times why we go with the science. So what would be like a good bridge to keep the science there, but also give a kind of a general explanation for people why they feel different?
Yeah, so obviously, if we want a big change, we have to change a big variable, right? If we want a big change in our life, we have to at least change our mind. If we don't change our mind, like nothing's gonna change, right? And if our mind is locked into a certain belief system that it has to be complicated, it has to be medical, it has to be technology, it has to be peer reviewed, it has to be, from a pharmacy, then we've been going down that road for decades now, and we're worse off. So I tell people, like, if you really want simplicity and you're really, really open to something simple, it doesn't get much simpler than drinking the water, right? With different properties that you just explained to see if it works. And if it works, like if you're an engineer, dig into it. But if you're not an engineer, like, why dig into it? I get in my car and I drive my car, you know? But do I need to understand the combustion cycle and how much the fuel air mixture ratio and how all the computer chips do it? I just get in and drive the car because I want to go from point A to point B, you know? So the science is great, but I tell people that their education is great. Education is in books, right? But the application of science, we have so much science in our world. We have so much technology. Are we healthier? Are we better off? Right? And so there has to be a limit to how much science and technology that we apply, because ultimately, at the end of the day, I just want to be happy. I want to be healthy. I want to raise my children, and experience life. Those things can be very simple things, or they can be extremely difficult things. Go to school for 20 years, work for 40 years, and they end up on a cruise ship at 65. It could be very complicated, or it could be very simple. Something as just trying some of this water and seeing if your some of your symptoms go away, some of your modern life symptoms go away. And so it's not, to me, it's really a question of removing complexity. I'm not adding complexity. I'm actually removing complexity. And some people are okay with that, and they're okay, well, yeah, it's really simple. You just drink the water and it gets the chemicals out of your body. It's really simple. But some people have to understand it at the nanoparticle, the genetic level. And I'm like, look, you could be a genetic physicist or a genetic scientist, MD, PhD, whatever, like, you got 20 letters after your name. But if you're sick, you don't know what you're talking about. Right? And so I tell people, hey, this is simple. If you want simple, then let's do it. If you don't want simple, then keep on doing what you're doing then, because what you're doing is a lot more complicated than what I'm doing.
And then the question is it working, right? So if people are looking for a change, obviously what they're doing is not working. And that's kind of, when you say the mindset, it's like shifting the pattern of somebody's thinking, right? So being able to, because your pattern of thinking shifted with a life event that happened to you, right? And then when you're playing your basketball game, you drink water instead of your Gatorade, you feel so much better. Like, you had to know why. And so, that pattern shifted. So being able to help somebody shift a pattern. And that's why I think they always say, in sales training or business training, the quote always comes up, facts tell, stories sell, right? Yeah. So the story is so relatable. Like, when we talk about building relationships, talking to people, asking them, what are you doing? How's your life? Like, I love when you say, what's your life like? And when you said last time, you know, what you want your slideshow to be at the end of your life, and you brought up a reference of, you know, a
Yeah.
eulogy and showing a slideshow, and what do you want that to look like? And how's it working now? Like, what if you could change something so simple, you know, and then when they want to know, why do I feel better? Why am I having this experience? That's where the science can come in and be the proof, but it doesn't have to be, you know, the selling factor. So how can we tell a story? So we love to tell stories. We love to share stories. How can we tell a story and still be compliant? You know, like that, I think, is the gray area, right? Protecting the ship, making sure we're staying within compliance, but still being able to share a story to connect with someone and share what our experience with the water is.
Yeah, and you know, you could say results vary based on how serious you are, and that's true, right? Some people go to college and they don't take it seriously, and they spend 6 years and they come out with a degree that they didn't want. You know, and some people get a degree in 3 years. It depends how serious you are, right? So I tell people results vary, but I'm very serious about what I do, right? Because this is my life, this is my health. But if someone, you know, is approaching it with, you know, a lax, you know, and so we have to qualify people to see if, hey, are they here for themselves? Are they here on a serious mission of personal development, or are they here to like shoot holes in the story I'm sharing? If they're here to shoot holes, then by all means, you know, they're not ready. They're not ready for simple. They're not ready for this because it still challenges their belief system. And that's what happened to me. I was a clinical scientist working in big pharma. You know how hard-headed I was, right? How educated I was. So to the point that I had to go into a coma to realize I didn't know anything, right? And my journey now is my mission now is to help people avoid that high price of life tuition. Life is going to take you to the truth, right? Life is going to teach you the truth, but at what price are you going to pay to get that truth, right? I mean, we're traveling to I think he's an engineer or scientist or a doctor, but someone that's a highly educated, and we're going to do a demo for him. And I'm pretty sure he's going to have a lot of questions for me. And I'm just going to ask him the same thing. Are you ready for the answer to be something simple, or the answer must be something difficult? Because if you're not ready for simple, then we got nothing for you, because all we do is simple. Right? And some people are just like, oh, I got to read 20 research papers. I got to read, you know, I got to some point when I was reading like 20 or 30 research papers. And you guys know research papers put you to sleep. I'm a scientist, and research papers, I start reading it and I start nodding off because it's not sexy. It's boring. They're using terms you don't understand. I mean, it puts me to sleep. And so I caught myself. I'm like, what am I doing reading research papers on water? Like, what am I doing? Why don't I just drink the water and find out for real? Because there's one thing that beats data. There's one thing that beats research and science and engineering, and that's called results. Results, when you have results, I don't care what it is. I got the result. You know, and today, in our world today, we have so many experts at everything. We've got all sorts of financial experts. We've got political experts. We've got health experts. Well, but amazingly, we don't have health, right? With all these financial experts, I think Americans, like, they don't have you know, they're in pretty bad financial straits right now. The country itself is in debt to the world, right? And now we're talking about nuclear war. I'm like, what the heck? Like, who's running the show here? All these experts. And so that, in my mind, like I'm done with experts. I just want results. And so that's why I ask people. It's like, you know, I'll give you the data, but are you really going to read it? I'm going to send you a link to like 100 research papers. Are you really going to read it? Or are you just saying that for me to send a link and waste my time, waste your time? right?
Right.
That's how I answer people, and just because I did the same thing when Chisako showed me. She's right here. Chisako showed me
Hi.
the demo in 2015 or 2016. I was there to shoot holes in her presentation. I I caught myself. I need to remain unbiased. I need to remain open-minded. I'm here to learn. I'm here to learn. Right? And then I did learn. And that's how, like, I'm still here. Because Lori, it's tough to bring the truth to people when everyone's been like brainwashed. It's very tough. You get ostracized, you get criticized, you get doors shut on you, all sorts of things. But it's still the truth that you're bringing. It's undeniable, right? And so I couldn't deny the truth anymore. And that's when I got to some point where I could say, I'm going to do this because I've already. It already works, But I think that's, and we have to be compassionate with people that are not ready, because it really does challenge everything that is in our value system. Oh, there's no way the medical establishment is just profiteering off my sickness. There's no way. Well, it's a business. It's straight up a business. Yes, if something happens to me and I break a leg, thank goodness, I will pay all the doctors all the money that they need to fix me right. But my job is not to break my leg. My job is to stay healthy, right? And the best way, the easiest way for me to stay healthy is to not accumulate all these toxins, not to eat all the bad foods and put all this garbage into my body and into my brain, right? But once they are in, because I live in this modern society, how do I get them out? And I found a secret. And the secret is right here. It's been right in front of our face the whole time. We just never believed it. Right? And that's how I share with people.
I love that because I love this so much. I mean, so the last interview that we did, the previous one, I took notes as I was asking you questions, as other people were asking you questions, and as you were speaking. And then I went back and watched it over 2 other times, and I took more notes because the way that you explain this and the way that you take complicated information as a scientist and you condense it down into such simple language, reminding people this is how you're shifting people's patterns of thinking from the complicated, from the reactive program that we are so used to, running this software program in our brain. We've been conditioned to run this reactive software in our brain, and that's just the way it's been conditioned to us growing up in this culture. But you're shifting that back to, wait a minute, preventative, proactive, getting back to, I like to say, getting back to nature, getting back to simple is what is, that's how I'm describing simple, is because you can't get more perfect and simple than the way nature intended, correct? And so return to origin, that's what we have with Kangen, is a return to origin, basically return to simple.
Yeah, and the one thing that when I was in research, right, I was very frustrated in research because you're doing such complex things and you're trying to control all the variables. You're trying to control all the different inputs of your science experiment. And the science experiment goes on and you think it's highly controlled, but it doesn't deliver the results that you want. Time and time again, like, science is hypothesis and theory and research, right? Right? What we have now is beyond that. Like, water is not a theory. Water is not a hypothesis, right? It's actually, so we have to get back to fundamentals, basically. and not get caught up in all this. Like, I think after this pandemic, you know, a lot of people are like taking their health seriously, right? I hope so. But a lot of people also questioning like their beliefs. Your health was original. It will be true like that for the next 10,000 years, 100,000 years. And so how do I protect my health? Which is my wealth, right? I just keep my body fit, right? Good thoughts, good food, good water, good friendships, good laughter, you know, adventure. You know, I don't want to be in a situation where I don't control my own happiness and someone else has the lever on my happiness. That's not what I want, you know. And so I was looking for a venue, looking for something to do that I could be financially healthy and be spiritually healthy, you know. And this is where I'm at. And I was hard-headed, but I'm hard-headed for the right reason. You know what I mean, Lori?
Yes, and I love it. I love it. We're kind of losing you here and there. We're catching most of what you're saying, but I think
His bandwidth is low, so we're dropping the video.
Yeah, the
and
video is
audio.
dropping.
The audio's intermittent, so.
Okay. So maybe maybe I'll turn off the video and then just stay on audio until you guys tell me, because all you're seeing is me sitting in the back of the car next to a candy box.
I love that you're delivering a machine and doing a demo, and you still jumped on this Zoom because we had it scheduled. So thank you for that.
You know, it's intrinsic. It's intrinsic motivation, right? So we can be motivated by a paycheck. We can be motivated by emotions, right? Fear makes us do things, right? Right? And so we can be motivated by love, but we have to use those emotions inside us and move from the heart, right? Because for such a long time, I lived in my brain, I lived in my head, and I leveraged that education to you know, to pull rank, pull position. Oh, you gotta listen to me because I'm so and so and I have this degree. I'm like, life doesn't work like that. Nature doesn't work like that. If you're healthy, you're gonna live a long time. That's the only degree that your degree of health is what all nature cares about. It doesn't care about your degrees on the wall. You know, so I had to check my ego. I had to check myself and just put everything like, what do I really know about happiness? What do I really know about life? You know, and so that I think a lot of people need to have that discussion with themselves. It's like, what am I really here for? Not just, you know, I got to some point where I was like, I'm not here to work and pay bills. You know, there's got to be a higher purpose. And I mean, if you look at my Facebook, my profile, the picture, it says living for a higher purpose. Right? Paradigm shifter. Everything that I say that I do. Everything that I am is because I said it. I spoke it into existence. I used to not be like that. You know, I used to do other things. And so we have to get back to that point where we okay, you there?
Yes, you dropped off at the very last. Can you hear me, Sam?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, so I love that you brought that up, because when we can get really focused on the machine and the amazing technology that we have, it is very simple, but it's absolutely incredible. I like to say it's recreating nature, because is it true that the science behind this technology that, you know, you talked last time about, you know, how how different the protocol and modalities in Japan. I mean, they're such incredible engineering and science there, but their approach to wellness is obviously different. We know that than the US. And one of the blue zones is there. And if you know what the blue zones are, longer living people, it's the lifestyle, it's all of the things, right? But the technology is fantastic and amazing. And we can get so stuck on explaining that. And yet it's really recreating the energy in nature. Is that true? Is that the scientists found out what was happening in these specialty waters? I just want to clarify this, I guess, because it's coming up. They found out what was going on in nature, and they recreated that in a system that is returning the tap water back to the original state it's supposed to have, the living state. So can you tell us, are we able to say living water, or should we only say electrolyzed reduced, or is it okay to say living because it has a living molecular structure?
I think it's okay to say we have to check that with compliance, but I call it, since I'm a science geek, I call it what it is, scientific, right? I say electrolyzed reduced water.
Okay.
So it's water with electrical charge.
Okay, I like that.
Okay.
That's a good answer to that question. Thank you.
Yeah. And so so the earth is an ecosystem, right? The earth is an ecosystem. And it used to be a lot more pure, a lot more clean, right? Before the Industrial Revolution and all this oil and all this, plastic. Food used to be more clean. Everything was organic. We used to grow everything in our backyard 100 years ago, 50 years ago, right? But at some point, it got taken over, right? We used to use food and water as our medicine. Literally, it was your medicine to stay healthy, because there was no pharmacy to walk to. There was no, someone to call, right? And because you had to take care of yourself, so we're just removing all the modern toxins. That's it. We're not adding more pills or creams or lotions, or we're not adding anything modern. We're taking water, we're charging it with electricity from these plates that are 99.97% pure titanium and platinum, so they don't rust, right? We're putting 230 watts of electricity. It's changing the water like a lightning bolt when it hits a pond or a lake or the ocean. It's changing the properties, because everything changes when lightning strikes it, right? A tree that's struck by lightning becomes a very small tree, right? When lightning strikes a tree, it becomes a very small tree, right? Same thing with water. When you hit water with a lot of electricity, the same thing. It becomes small water, right? And then you charge these plates that are positive and negatively charged, they pull minerals. Water already has all the minerals. That's why every other animal drinks it on the planet, right? And so we're pulling minerals to make a mineral water, but we're also making hydrogen in the process, hydrogen gas, and then we're giving it a negative charge and we're making it alkaline. And that's it. That's as simple as it gets, And so it's a matter of just us letting go of the complexity in our heads. That's all it is. We just have to let go of that complexity.
Yes, I love that. And so one of the things that you mentioned last time is so as a clinical scientist, as someone who, as you were directing these laboratories.
Yeah, go ahead, Lori.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Okay. I hope Sam can hear me. So
I can hear you.
Okay, great. So as you're directing these laboratories, you are overseeing this equipment, these $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 pieces of medical equipment that are in your laboratories, right? So that was part of, you're setting these up, correct? And these all had the same certifications as, or similar as our 13485. So when you saw that, it made a difference to you, and it immediately was integrity to you as far as. So can you tell us about this medical certification? Because I know that there's questions in, can we call it a medical device? Can we not? So when it comes to the compliance, what do you
Yeah.
say about that?
I tell them that it is an ISO certified medical device from Japan,
Okay.
in Japan, right? You know, when you work with expensive equipment, it comes with different quality, right? Obviously, you're paying a high price for, you know, if you're paying $200,000 for a diagnostic piece of equipment, that's no joke. That's not like you can go down to Home Depot and pick up the same thing. It doesn't work like that,
Right.
right? It's very specialized equipment. And so it has to be highly engineered. It has to have high quality of materials going into the product, right? And so I saw that ISO is one of these organizations, and it's called the International Standards Organization, ISO, right? It's a world-renowned, it's a world-known organization that certifies your quality of process. You know, there's ISO 9001, there's ISO 14001, ISO 1345. There's all these certifications, and they're hard to get. They're extremely hard to get. The easy ones are easy to get, but ISO 1345, the medical device one, it takes probably $100,000 to $1 million to get that certification. And it takes a decade or so to get that certification.
Sam, could I say something about ISO?
Yes.
I worked in electronics for many, many years, and we did aircraft, we did military, we did medical. We built the motor drivers for CAT scans and MRI equipment.
Mhm.
We built flight control motor drivers for all the fly-by-wire on the military jets and things. You just do a joystick. Signal goes back to the ailerons or out to the ailerons, back to the surfaces and runs motors. We built all those drivers for all those types of machines. And the ISO certification for medical and military is daunting. I mean, it is very, very difficult. And I went through, we'd go through days and days and days of certifying everything we did, from turning a screw to soldering a joint to, and every operator that operated a machine, I was a machine technician, so I had to tell them in detail how I maintained and certified my machines to do the testing on the products we were building. So you don't walk in the door and present your credentials and say, I want certification. You prove that you can be certified.
Yeah.
Very, very strenuous, difficult situation to go through.
You know, so when I saw that, I was, you know, initially I thought the king in the machine was just a water filter. I mean, it was a glorified Japanese water filter that's really, really overpriced. That's what I thought initially, right? But then I saw this ISO 1345 and I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then I started comparing all the other different brands. Do they all have ISO 13485? No. So what, so I can say, so this is a different level of quality. This is a different level of engineering. It's a different level of philosophy. And we know that because it's a Japanese company. Japanese society has a different philosophy, right? They're more into prevention than treatment. And so that's what got me thinking about, what is this? What is going on here? And how come I haven't known about it if it's been around like 49, 50 years? Like, how come my science never opened this door for me? Surgeries, you know, and things like that. Things are quote unquote medical, you know. But as a scientist, I didn't want to have those as my only options. You know, if you're working in toxicology and you're looking at the side effects of all these drugs, you don't want to be on them, right? Ultimately, you don't want to be on them, you know. So that's what I started kind of like being unbiased. You really have to be unbiased. You have to be really open-minded. And one of my friends said, well, Sam, don't be so open-minded that your brain spills out. And I was like, I think you've got some illogical fear there, because I'm not afraid of my brain falling out. What's dangerous to me is to be closed-minded in this world now. And so the person that said that to me, she's gonna own a machine someday, but it might take her going into a coma, just like it took me, because that person is as hard-headed as I was, and she's also a scientist. And so I just patiently drip information on them, and someday they'll get it. But their tuition price is going to be very high, like my tuition price. It took me going into like having a near-death experience. I was this close to not coming back, or maybe coming back as a vegetable with a whole bunch of regret, right? And I didn't want to be that person. And so that's when that's why I said I'm blessed to have this life and to share this truth with people. Now, whether they believe me or not, that's on their life. But as long as I share the truth with people, my conscience is clear, and I only worry about one judgment, the judgment of my maker. I don't worry about the judgment of people who misunderstand me, not at all, right? Because that's what this world is, but I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly where I come from, and I know exactly what is in my heart. But it's easy to misunderstand people today, and then people do, right?
I love all of this. I just want to like talk to you every week, and just I love everything that you're saying, where you're going. They are so fortunate to have you. I mean, think about it. Everybody here on this call, we all have such an honor and a joy to be able to learn all of this, to be able to talk to somebody. Like, we wouldn't know Sam if it weren't for what we have, right? We all have this amazing technology in our homes and our offices. And now we know each other because of it, but we also have this, I think of it as a responsibility. Now I know this, and I know what it's done for me, and I know what the benefit that I've seen in the hundreds, of people in the 9 years, the stories, the things I've witnessed personally and watched in other people. And it's like, how can I not explain this to people? So I love that you said, I'm not worried about judgment of people, because we now have something that we have a responsibility to share that can make the world better. Change your water, change your life. It really is changing lives, changing the world. It really is so important for, like you said, it's an important project for humanity, and also for the planet. And now we have this. So learning how to share this correctly, first of all, it's understanding it correctly. What is it that we have? So your explanations are helping us to understand what we have, and then to be able to share it by just connecting with people and caring about them. Because who was it that said this? I think it was Roosevelt who said, people don't care what you know until they know that you care.
Exactly.
Right? And we share with compassion. Our mission is true health through compassion, correct? And it's such a joy. But like I said, I also feel like it's a responsibility. And so to be able to do this is anyway, I'm so grateful.
As we're sharing this information to people, of course, it will challenge some people's beliefs, right? It will, and obviously it will, because you're bringing them water. Meanwhile, they got tap water at home. Like, water's not my problem, Sam. Like, I gotta make money. I gotta be healthy. I gotta go do my life, right? That's the problem. How is water gonna fix my problem? Well, that's what people get stuck on, what they see. But where I'm at, I'm not seeing with just my eyes. I'm seeing with my mind. I'm seeing with my heart. I'm seeing a picture bigger than what's presented to me in front of my face, right? I'm seeing the meaning of what we're doing, right? And so there's a depth of what we're doing here. But most people are at the superficial level. and that's where marketing comes in, right? And so I'm not the best of marketers, but I know my science. I mean, it's really, and I've got my results. Like, I haven't worked a day since 2014 for corporate, but I've worked, like I worked 24/7, but my work equals my play, and my play equals my work. I can't distinguish the two, right? And that's why I wanted in life, because my prior life, I went to work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And then Saturday and Sunday were fantastic, right? But Monday through Friday again, it was like a rat race. And so I was looking for something different. What if I could play 7 days a week, make a huge impact, reach the world, doing something environmental, doing something that's valid by science, make passive income, travel the world, make friends, ski 50 days a year. Like, really big dream, right? Now I just need a better tool. Because my tool of going to college and getting educated and getting a good job and working up the career ladder, I'm sorry, but that's changing. Whether it's robots or AI or outsourcing or Zoom, if you have a job that can be Zoomed, then some corporation is going to hire someone from another country, pay him 1/4 the price, and get 4 people to do the work that you did. That's just an economic reality, And so I was looking for a better tool, and so I never really launched into the business side of things, and still to this day, I'm more of a scientist, a guy that helps all these teams. But I purposely stay on the science so people don't have to like dive into this area. This area is covered, guys. This area is covered. It's backed. Patrick and I have got the engineering and the science handled. Okay, so that's beyond question. The simplicity, it's pretty simple too. It's engineered in Japan, so the quality is there. The standard is there. It's environmental. It's simple. It lasts a long time. Maintain your machine. Do your deep cleanings, right? But what other signal am I waiting for from the universe that this is the moment? That's why I got to. I gotta have social validation. I gotta have everyone agree with me before I go. No, we're leaders. We're leaders. We're not followers. If we are followers, I would be diabetic and unhealthy, like a big percentage of our population, because everyone's doing it, so I might as well do it. No, that's not what I want to do. I want a different life, right? And so I just got a better tool. I just upgraded my tools, and to this day, my friends in corporate, they still don't understand, right? They really don't understand when I show them a picture or video of me skiing on a Thursday or a Friday or a Monday, and they really are confused, right? Because what we know is what we do. Obviously, Lori, Patrick, and a lot of the people on here, we're doing something different. We know something different. That's why we do it. If we didn't know this, we wouldn't do this, right? But obviously, we know something, and it's for the people that don't know. We're willing to share with them. We're willing to help them out, but they've got to get to some point where they open up and say, "Hey, I'm really interested in what you're doing," right? And so now for me, I look for people that are interested. The people that are not interested, like I wasn't interested for I think it came into America in 2001, 2002 or something like that. I've known about it since then, but I was not interested until after 2014, after my near-death experience. So that's what it took for me, So we have to get to some point where we're ready. The stars have to align, right? Because if we're literally waiting for the stars to align, I mean, the stars align every single day. We just can't see it, So it's been such a blessing, and Chisako has completely changed my life, right? And we're all gonna travel. I mean, this video, we're recording this video and you're going to send it out to someone, I'm going to say something that is the right word that will probably, it may make someone unhappy, it might make them mad, but it might be some amount of logic that will be, aha, I knew there's something to this. And to the right person, right, you could say anything and it'll be the right words. But to the wrong person who's not ready, you couldn't say anything that will get them ready because they're not ready. Right? And so when I meet people today, it's like, are you really ready? Are you really ready? If you are, let's go. If you're not, I'll send you some more emails and you can ignore my spam until you're ready. Right? So go ahead, guys. What there was that a question that just flashed up there?
That's awesome. Yes, there's a question. When does Sam address pre-filtration with prospects to optimize results? Good question.
Good question. The input water is usually the water coming into these devices is usually city water. But the city waters, like water in LA is not the same as water in Seattle. Water in Seattle is much, much nicer to drink than water in Vegas, right? So if your water is not up to some standard, but then you need a pre-filter, right? But remember that we are not a water filtration company. We are actually a medical device company out of Japan, right? And so this is actually a medical device in Japan. It's not a medical device in the US. We don't want it to be a medical device in the US because there would be some serious gatekeepers.
Right.
That wouldn't let us have this technology, right? And so I'm so thankful that we get to input this. But again, back to the filtration, it depends on your quality of water going in. Some people live on farms and are in well water, so you have to be very cognizant of the pesticides that filter down the soil after years and decades of spraying and end up in your well water. Some people live in cities with old pipes, right, and corroded pipes. Some people, like recently in Ohio, the big train explosion thing, right? So some people better get some pre-filters going, right? Because even though all these officials, these experts say it's safe, I don't trust officials. I just don't. I trust, but I verify, right? But officials in my mind have told me so much lip service that I have to do my own investigation, right? And my own investigation led me to leave my career, But as far as the filtration, it depends. Now, I use ion faucet as they have and I think there's a water report on ewg.org. You can get water reports. You can go to the Home Depot, get one of those water testing things that you can send it in and they'll test your water, but get it tested, right? Because you can't just take some expert's word anymore. It's not that world anymore, Okay.
Okay, we have another question here. What we have here is, if you go on your screen at the bottom with your mouse, hit reactions and hit raise your hand, then I can call on you to ask your own question. So Ian, would you like to unmute yourself and ask that question?
Yeah.
Good.
Hey, Sam. How you doing, bud?
Good. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, man. Hey, I was just asking about, I've had a lot of distributors asking me if there's a filtration option that we can use in addition to the Inespa to filter out like vinyl chloride and phosgene and all those volatile compounds, because all of that's ending up in the water table and people are worried about showering in it. But I don't believe that the Inespa actually has the medium that we need to take those things out. Is there an option that we can use in conjunction with that aside from a whole house filter?
Yeah, I think there is. I'm not an expert in filtration per se, but I would consult with probably iron faucet is the one I use the most personally. They seem to know. and find more research. Like send whatever research you find. Let's just trade notes. I
Okay.
haven't really looked into it because that was something that happened over in Ohio. Like I haven't. My mind's over here right now. So
Yeah.
but it is pollution of all kinds is going to be on the planet, and so
I've got
we have
clients
to.
in Connecticut that are seeing it show up in their water and in the rainwater. So
Wow.
The
And
thing-
and the thing is like
Ian, is it Ian or Ian?
it's Ian.
Ian, okay. I'm from Australia version, and it's Ian over there. So the thing is about pre-filters is some of these ones that are about 2-inch diameter and 10 inches long, point of use, they are so small, 3 showers and they're washed out.
Yeah.
So you got to get something in a 4-inch diameter, 10 to 20 inches long for a shower setup, and then get the right medium in there to cover whatever it is you're fighting against,
yeah.
And like a KDF filter is a good one. Extra charcoal is a good one. That's the medium you need to be looking for, especially the KDF.
Okay. I was thinking along the lines of KDF. I'll check that out.
And one of the things that because what happens in our society, like we find that blueberries are great for us, and so we end up eating blueberries only for until we get sick of blueberries, right? So we end up like going overboard on everything, right? And so when there's a contaminant, then we want to remove all the contaminants. If it's a risk factor, if that thing's sharp, we need to have a warning label on every sharp object around us. Cups of hot boiling coffee need to have a warning label that says, hey, this is hot boiling coffee. So we have to be cognizant of the risk, but not be so much in search of zero risk, because there is no such thing as zero risk. There's risk in being alive, and the biggest risk of being alive is premature death, right? And so we need to mitigate that risk, right? But not get to this point where we live in a bubble, right? And a lot of these other marketers, what they do is they spin it. It's like, oh, this filter doesn't do this, but ours does. And I'm like, well, yes, you might drink the best water, but as soon as you step outside and breathe the air, you've got some kind of contaminants coming in. And so this whole idea about living in a perfect utopian world, it doesn't exist, right? You find some kind of edge, some kind of technology that can take the hit for you, so your body can last longer, right? It's like your automobile. If you change the oil at the appropriate intervals and you change the oil filter, right, then your engine will most likely last longer. If you skip the oil change and you skip the filter change, then those impurities are just the fact that you're driving the car around is going to make impurities. And same thing of us, we make impurities. We're like there's oxidative and redox reactions going on all the time. And thank goodness we make antioxidants in our body, glutathione, right? But it can't keep up. And so we need to limit the risks going forward. But there's always going to be risks. As soon as you step outside, there's a risk. Something could fall off an airplane flying overhead. But we need to keep it in check, because there's a lot of marketing now about everything's dangerous. You need to have everything buttoned up. And so we need to have a life too. And so that's why I tell people, if there's a viable risk, manage it. But you need to determine if it's a viable risk first. Otherwise, you're wasting a lot of money. True?
Good
True.
advice.
Okay, Marina, is that the way you say your name? Marina, would you like to unmute yourself and ask a question?
Yes, my name is Marina. Hi, how are you? I
Good.
just had a question. So I recently got yelled at by a doctor that is a Harvard graduate. I
Okay.
sold the Kangen machine to a friend of mine, and I told she had high blood pressure and she also had cholesterol. So I told her, if you start drinking the water, maybe it'll get rid of your bad cholesterol. So she's like, how much should I drink? I'm like, half of your body weight in ounces. So she started to do it. And apparently she's claiming that her blood pressure rose. Well, no, she didn't make the claim. I apologize. Her doctor made the claim that I'm an idiot and I don't know what I'm talking about. And because I told her to consume this water, that's why her blood pressure went up. And he's a doctor, so I just shut my mouth. I didn't know what to say at that moment. I got caught off guard.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to ask you, is that possible?
Oh, well, anything's possible, but it's kind of unlikely that water is going to drive it. Well, water will have a negative impact on your body. You know, so if she's not going to be drinking water, and then she's only drinking Coca-Cola, that'll do more damage to her blood pressure because of oxidative, right? And so, you know, it's odd that I noticed that our Western medicine system promotes pills as the first option. So, but we all know that in order to have a big change, you have to change something big, right? So you have to change your diet, at least, right? Change something natural, change something easy, right? And water is a big part of our diet. It's a big part of our life. It's a big part of our body. It's 75% of our body. So if this doctor is suggesting that 75% of what you're made out of is dangerous to you, I think the doctor needs to go have his head checked.
Thank you.
You know, because we're talking about water with minerals in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's why but this is the psychology of Americans now. The psychology of everyone in this country is we got to listen to these experts. They're on TV. And after the expert talks, the drug commercial goes on. Right? We are that dystopian society where other people use food and water as their medicine. We use our medicine as food in this country. And there's something inherently wrong with that. And so if someone is really motivated for their own health, then they will be motivated for their own health. If people are going to outsource their health to someone else, then they'll ask an expert. I don't ask experts for help on my health, because if I look at the doctor and I ask the doctor, how many pills are you on? And if the doctor's on 3 pills, then I know that's not my guy, because he's a pill pusher, because he's on the pills. You are what, you know, you have to be a product of your product, right? I'm
Absolutely.
definitely a product of my product. And if I ask a doctor, how many pills are you on? And I said, well, he's on high cholesterol, he's on high blood pressure. I said, then what advice do you have for me? Oh, to be on the same pills as you are. I said, there's an inherent problem with that. Okay. And so, yeah, this is that's why I ask people, if you really want to do this, right, talk with your doctor about getting off the pills. And if the doctor doesn't want you off the pills, you have to wonder what his motivation is. Right?
Commission. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Sam, could I tell you about my Reader's Digest story?
Yeah, go ahead.
And am I going full screen when I do this? Lori, am I full screen there?
Yes.
Okay, so you can see the Reader's Digest there. So we have Reader's Digest in the sunroom sitting there on the table. So I pick up this one and I'm reading through it. And I was raised overseas, 16 years over in Papua New Guinea. So I'm familiar with the English language and many versions of it. And I'm reading through this Reader's Digest, and guess what? They're using the wrong spelling here and there and everywhere. Color, C-O-L-O-U-R, and on and on and on. And I'm reading through this thing, and this is really strange to me that I'm reading a Reader's Digest and the spelling is British, Australian type spelling.
Yep.
Then I noticed something else in this Reader's Digest. There are no, where's my camera? There's no ads for medicine in this Reader's Digest.
Oh, interesting.
And I look at another Reader's Digest there, and there's a there are 2 pages of that. And I'm going back and forth between these 2 Reader's Digests, and I'm like, what is going on? And then I find out it's an Asian Reader's Digest, and my sister-in-law picked it up in Singapore and brought it over here.
Yep.
Something to read on the airplane. And this is asiard.com, and there's one ad in here, and it's how to buy prescription glasses or something. So we have been totally brainwashed into thinking that we need 4-page ads to understand a pill.
Yep, we are that dystopian society. I'm sorry to say it, but we are in that bubble. You know.
Is it yeah, that's fascinating. That's absolutely fascinating. And I think, you know, I mean, I love what you said, Sam, that, you know, this is a gift. We are tremendously blessed to have what we have. And you're absolutely right, Patrick. Like, we have, you know, an awareness of being able to keep it simple, take it back to what the body I always say this, give the body what it needs and let it do what it already knows how to do. It's a miraculous creation that is, you know, it knows what to do. Give it what it needs. It knows how to detox. It knows how to flush. It knows how to digest. Let's give it what it needs to do it at the highest, you know, performance it possibly can, and then watch what it's able to do. So we're giving it what I believe to be the most powerful tool, because like you said so well, we are water. I loved what you said last time, Sam, when you said, somebody asked you, are you still doing that water thing? And you're like, no, I'm not doing it. I am it. I am water. I'm being it.
Exactly. Like, you know, we're oftentimes like, when we meet people, they go, oh, what do you do for a living? You know, I'm like, well, I'm not a human doing, I'm a human being. You know, so this is what I am. I am doing this, but you know, but I'm being this, you know. But it's just, our society is like, it's very strange now, where, and I've noticed that over the years and over the past 3-4 years, it's really shifting. Like, things are being redefined, you know, and it doesn't jive in my book. Or, you know, maybe I'm old school or something, but I prefer simple over complex, you know.
Well, I think we're in the perfect time. I really do. I think, and speaking of time, in the interest of you going to a demo, I think we'll get ready to wrap this up and get you where you need to be so that you can go and help change somebody's life for the better. But I really, yeah, there it is. But I really believe we are in the perfect time for what we have to share with people. I think people are ready. I think so many people are looking. You said it last time on our call, Sam, that people are praying right now. They're looking for something that is simple, that can help them. People are waking up, people are aware. And, you know, we have what we believe to be the greatest gift. I really believe it is. I believe it's my most powerful wellness gift to share with somebody. And you're giving us so much, both of you, you and Patrick, both giving us so much, you know, to move forward with. But Sam, I want to thank you so much for your time, for all of your information, again, for your inspiration. The information is great. The inspiration is just as great, if not greater, to be able to remind us, you know, of not to be afraid, not to worry about being judged. Like, we need to get out there what we have. And then now we have even more knowledge to empower us in not just the belief of what we have, but how to share this, how to keep it simple, how to condense, you know, complicated topics. This is what you do so well. Condense complicated topics that you understand and you can explain, but to condense it down to something very simple so we can be empowered to go out and share this with people, and stay within compliance, because we want what we have to last.
Exactly. You know, there has to be a heart and mind coherence, right? For so many decades, I just wanted to study. You know, my parents said, go to school, study hard, get a good job. So I was focused on developing my head, my brain, my intelligence, and studying from all these books, right? And so, but as I got further into my career, I found an emptiness in my heart, right? And then when I shifted, you know, when I hit my head and went to a coma, that's when I shifted more into my heart. And so this is a heart type work. This is a spirit type work. This is a passion type work. This isn't something you do to get street credit. You know, this isn't something you do to get higher, you know, higher in the corporate world. This is something you do for your soul, right? And your soul is cannot be bought. It just cannot be bought. And so my statement when I left Big Pharma is that you cannot buy my soul. And so because I'm doing my soul work right now, right? And so this is what people have to get to. They have to get to who they are at their core values. You know. Okay.
And that is the gift. And you are such a gift. I just want you to know how incredibly valuable and magnificent all of this is for all of us. So you sharing your time, sharing your heart, your knowledge, I mean, it's fantastic. And I want everybody to, we're seeing thank yous in the chat. And we're gonna let you get to your,
Lori,
what's that?
Just a minute. For the recording, we need to say that Anne asked the question from the doctor high blood pressure thing. Did she take meds with Kangen? And the answer was yes. She used 7 pH.
Gotcha.
So the people on the recording won't see the chats, I don't think.
Oh,
so.
excellent. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, I did see that in the chat, but you're right. So thank you for sharing that. So yeah, that was a question and an answer. Awesome.
Yeah, and anytime you make a big change in your diet, you're going to have an impact, right? But water never impacts you negatively unless it's an overdose of water. I mean, that's usually called hyperkalemia or hypokalemia. So when you drink too much water and you don't go pee and it backs up in your body. But the other way water can hurt you is called drowning. Okay, but other than that, yeah, people should be drinking water. You know, but if you're going to make a big change, and I tell people, if you're gonna take this on as a project, tell your doctor, hey, I'm making some lifestyle changes. I'm going to change my diet, but don't let the doctor know that you're drinking more water, right? Because he's going to blame it on the water of all things. I'm like, who in their right mind is going to blame like health issues on water?
Well, can I kind of say something to you on Kangen water?
Yeah.
So my name is Crystal, and you know, I know that the Kangen water then is contraindicated for people with congestive heart failure, and or people on dialysis, because my mother was on it. And you're not supposed to be, I mean, I would not promote it to people that are on well, they have kidney failure, or,
exactly. Yeah,
so there's some medical issues that really need to be spread out there, because some people were actually telling people, feeding this, like, you've got to drink more water and water, and
no, exactly.
that's very dangerous.
So. Yes, exactly. So something like that affects like the kidneys, obviously, right? Everything liquid in your body is filtered through your kidneys. That's what they're there for, right? So you have to be very careful about the volume of water you're drinking, because your kidney function could be low. But if you're going to drink any liquids, would you drink polluted water, or would you drink the cleanest thing? Because if you drink the cleaner water, it's going to actually be less stress on your low functioning kidneys, right? And so we have to be cognizant of that. But you know, it's just we're making a big lifestyle change. It's like going vegan. You know, starting to drink this water is like going vegan. It's a big change, right? You're at 75% of your water. I mean, 75% of your body mass, right? So, but water in general, like, shoot, if we were allergic to water and it was dangerous, I mean, there'd be a lot less people because planet's water. You know, so water itself is not dangerous. It's the things that are in water that are dangerous. What's in your water? That'll be my new catchphrase. What's in your water? Okay. All right, guys.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Thank you for all of that. And thanks again for your time. Thank you everyone for being on. I know that everyone is already asking for this recording. Go have an incredible presentation.
Let's do this again next month, right?
Yes.
We're gonna do this again next month?
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
All right.
All right, we'll see you guys later.
Thank you again so much.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thanks everybody for being on. Sam jumped off. He's doing his presentation. Thank you, Patrick, for handling all of the technical that you did. And anybody who's still on and who can hear me, if you want the recording of the last interview, send me an email. You can either comment on the post on the NAGIC page, or you can send me an email to info@elliswellness.com. Let me stop the recording here too. And I can send you that, and then we will also be sharing this recording as well. So look for the information for next interview with Sam. And
You're still recording,
oh,
Laura.
am I still recording? Okay, let me stop it.